Hi Math Gang, happy Friday. Lori here. It's January the 11th and we are looking at the last day to complete the welcome unit in Math 1046, and in this video I'd like to introduce Unit 1 in the number theory for Math 1046, since most of you will be starting Unit 1 this weekend having completed the welcome unit. Now for those of you that are late enrollments, please know that I understand that you're late to the course and you will probably need the weekend to work on the welcome unit, but I'm hoping that everyone by Monday will be starting Unit 1 as you want to have that time to complete. Now looking at Unit 1, you'll see that it's due February the 1st. All of the assignments and the test will be need to be completed by that deadline. So feel free to do your test earlier than the deadline, but by that deadline of February 1st at midnight, all of your Unit 1 should be completed. So before I talk about Unit 1, let's just do a recap of the welcome unit. I'm going to go in through content. Oh, I better put this in student mode. Here we go. So in through content, I'm going to go into my welcome unit. So click on welcome unit. And you can see that as you work through the welcome unit, there's going to be check marks saying what you have completed. Emphasis for the welcome unit will be on completing the to-do list. So when you click on the to-do list, it's setting up all of the following things: knowing your math options, knowing how to use Brightspace, how to set up your Pearson My Math Lab, because you will be doing completing your self-assessment today if you haven't already done so, and you will want to start the homework in Unit 1. So you have to have access to this My Math Lab. At the very least, you can do the free trial for 21 days and it will save all of your work. So if you're not ready to purchase it yet, please just use the 21-day free trial, and that will give you access to My Math Lab and also to the e-text. So setting up your e-text, there's the Pearson e-text and then the Vital Source one. I will talk about that in a moment. And setting up your webmail and Skype for Business. Now Skype for Business, next week I will have a voluntary Skype session just to say hello and answer any questions in live time. But after that it will be on an individual basis. So if you really are having trouble with a topic in math and you'd like me to go over it with you live, then all you have to do is send me an email and we'll set up a Skype appointment. So it's on an individual basis and by appointment as needed. But I think you'll find that a lot of students are fine with asking me questions through the Q&A discussions in the unit and sending me Ask My Instructor questions through the My Math Lab program. That seems to answer 99% of the questions, and then the other little bit is if a student really needs to have that one-on-one contact. So that's when we will use Skype. Completely voluntary. Back in the welcome unit as well, once you've done the checklist, the other two things that are of importance is completing the self-assessment, which is right here. It's mandatory to complete it. The mark you get on that, though, is a benchmark. It's not mandatory to pass the self-assessment, but it is going to give you an indication of whether you are right in the right math course or not. Thank you to all of you that have reached out regarding the self-assessment, and if you need a little bit more guidance on whether you should stay or whether you should take perhaps the Math 1043 or switch to Health Math, please just send me an email and I can help you with that. And then lastly, we have discussion, introduce yourself. This is for marks, so you'll want to go ahead and post in that introduction section, and you'll want to reply to one of your classmates' posts in order to get full marks. So that's due by midnight tonight. And it's answering those questions, and it's been fun to see those posts coming up in the introduction assignment. So thanks to all of you who have already posted your intros. And then, of course, the welcome unit. If you're having any questions regarding the welcome unit, it's there. So when you are done the welcome unit, you are ready to move on to Unit 1, Number Theory. So I'm just going to click on that and give you a little tour of Unit 1. All of our units start with this outcome section where you can see what sections of your textbook we are covering, and in this unit we are covering P.1 to P.4, so that includes P.2 and P.3 as well. So 4 sections that you have to complete by February the 1st, and if I look at our calendar, that's 3 weeks to complete 4 sections. So you're going to want to complete 1 section a week and then add in another section. So we're looking at 1 1/4 sections that you're going to complete each week just to get all 4 sections to complete. So you definitely need to start now. If you try and do everything on the 31st of January, A, you won't have time to complete it all, and B, it won't stick because we do need that breaks in between of study in order for the brain to really process and create those neural connections so that you can have a flexible math brain. There's nothing you need to complete here in terms of handing in. This is just for your information. This module here, what to do, if you click on that, it's going to show you what assignments that you need to pass in and what activities we are looking at. So that's just an information sheet. Each unit has resources. This is for voluntary. It's just extra videos and worksheets. They're not mandatory. They're just there for added practice. So if you click on this, you'll see each section is divided into examples, and you can have extra videos, extra worksheets on that if needed. So that's the resource section at the top, completely voluntary to access those things. Nothing is for marks and nothing is to be passed in. Then we move down to our homework section. There's a homework section for each section of the textbook that you'll be covering. When you click on the homework section, you're going to go to the homework section page. The homework section page involves a lecture video on P.1. It involves your homework section, P.1. When you click on this, you will be taken to your My Math Lab, and a homework assignment is there, and this one is for marks. We also have a refresh your foundation skills. These are voluntary and not for marks, so you don't have to do this. So if you are feeling strong with whole numbers and signed numbers, don't worry about doing this. But if you are wondering if you have the skills, you can do the pre-quiz and then the adaptive practice to get a refresher on your foundation skills before you move into the actual homework, which is for marks. I do suggest that you read the textbook and you watch the video before you do the homework section. So students find that doing a combination of the textbook read and watching the video, that gets them ready to do the homework section in My Math Lab. So in your textbook, each section has some checkpoint questions that you can do, and at the end of the chapter, so the end of P.1, there's going to be exercises that you can do as well. So go to your textbook first, learn from that, go into this video, learn from it. You can work on your homework section off and on throughout the unit, so it saves as you go, and you're able to go back and rework questions if you want. And you can do that rework up until you get the mark that you like. So some students will rework it until they get 100% on their homework, but don't feel that you need to have that 100%. As long as your marks are passing and it's, you know, a mark perhaps in the 70s, you're going to do well on the course. But you do have the option to rework it until you get the mark that you want, up until the deadline, of course. And then I also just have this note that for more detailed videos on this section, you can go to the resources section in the unit, which is what I had already talked about. So definitely complete this homework section P.1. Back to the number theory unit. When you finish section P.1, Then you're going to move on to section P.2, and then wash repeat section P.3, wash repeat section P.4. Then when you're done all of that, if you require more practice, that's where the study plan comes in. You can click on this link. It will bring you to a study plan that is created especially for you in terms of how you've answered your homework questions. So you can access the study plan at any time. It's always evolving based on the work you do in the My Math Lab homework. So feel free to use this. It's not for marks. It's not a prerequisite for your tests. It's just there as added practice. You have an assignment in Brightspace that you're going to complete called the Unit 1 Sticky Question Assignment. It is a discussion, so you're going to post your answer to the discussion, and the instructions you'll find by clicking on this title here, Instructions for Sticky Questions Assignment. So you're going to need to look at that. Don't forget to do that. You have a Unit 1 pretest to complete in My Math Lab. The pretest is for marks, so it's a great way to actually better your marks. I find students really do well when they do the unit pretest well, and we give you 2 attempts to complete the pretest, and we take your highest mark. So if you do the pretest on your first attempt and you don't do well, don't worry about it. Just study up, see where your weak spots are. Do your second attempt, and we'll take your highest attempt. You don't have to do 2 attempts. It's only if you want to do 2 attempts, and we always take the highest mark on that. So that's your pretest. It's for marks. When you've completed your pretest, you can go back to your study plan and see if there's any other areas that you need to brush up on. So the study plan will evolve after you do the pretests. And then you're going to move on to your test. Your test in Unit 1 is a proctored test, so you are going to need to go to a camping testing center to complete that. And I will give you more information on how to do that in the days to come. So probably on Monday, I will let you know how to book your appointment at a testing center and where to find that information. When you go to your testing center, it is done through this link, so don't click on this link unless you are ready to do it. And actually it's password protected, so you can't even get into it even if you tried. Your proctor will be putting that password in. But you will have 120 minutes to complete the test. That's 2 hours, and most students take around the hour mark to complete it and use any remaining time to review their test if they need to double check it. You're going to bring something to write with to the test. You're permitted a calculator. It can't be your smartphone, and it should be a scientific calculator, preferably the one that you've been using all through your study, so you're used to it. You are allowed to bring in a 1-page double-sided study sheet that you make at home. My recommendation is that as you are completing your textbook readings and you're completing your homework assignment and your test, you are creating this study sheet. Now, it might be longer than 1 page by the end, so you're just going to have to redo your study sheet and condense it into what you absolutely need for the test. But you can put anything you want on that study sheet. It is 1 page, both sides. And you'll be given scrap paper also for the test, and you can ask your proctor to scan that scrap paper and have them email it to me, so that if you have any questions regarding how your test is scored, there is options for me to review your questions and give partial marks. More on that later to come. But for now, I think that's good enough information looking ahead to that proctored test. And as I said, next week, I will do an announcement that gives you a little bit more instruction in terms of the proctored test. Lastly, when you are done your proctored test, I want to hear about how your first unit went, and you're going to post your answers to a reflection discussion. So in this, you're going to answer questions about what you learned, what resources you used, what you found challenging, what strategies you'll use for next term. And this is a great way just to take a moment, look back on the unit, see what went well, see what didn't, and then to change some stuff so that you are even more successful in Unit 2. And at the end of each unit, there is a gut questions discussion. So if you have any questions about anything that you are studying in Unit 1, you can post them here. I love to do videos on sticky questions. So if you are having problems with a specific question, let me know in the Q&A. Your classmates are free to give you pointers on the question, and I'm happy to do a video to walk you through the question as well. Well, folks, that's it for Unit 1. I look forward to your questions in the Q&A discussion. Please keep on reaching out. You've been a great class so far in asking me questions, and I encourage you to keep that up. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend starting Unit 1. And, oh, I should talk about the textbooks. To access your e-textbooks once you have signed up for the 21-day free trial, or perhaps you have purchased and registered, you need to go in through My Lab Math Links. Then you have two options. You have your Vital Source textbook, and you also have your Pearson textbook, which is where? There. So the difference between these two is that the Pearson is only accessible when you're on the internet, and Vital Source you can download to your computer or your or your cell phone or an iPad, and you don't need the internet to access the Vital Source one. First, I just want to show you a little bit about the Pearson text. When you click on the Pearson text, you're going to have to wait for it to load using the internet. If you don't have Flash enabled, you're going to have a note like this. Just say yes, get Flash. I'm going to allow. That's what happens in Chrome anyway. And then you can see that it opens up to your textbook. Depending on the speed of your internet, this might be slow to load or it might be fast to load. That's why I recommend using Vital Source. So going back to My Lab Math Links, there is the Vital Source textbook here that you can click on, but what you really want to do is download the Bookshelf app to your device. So in the welcome unit, in the checklist, it gives you a link where you can go to download this free app, and I have it on my computer. And you can see that I have my chem book, but I also have my algebra book. It's just asking if I want to do a new edition. I'm going to do the algebra, and I can continue reading, and I don't need to be on the internet to read this. So it's going to be fast because it's already pre-downloaded. So you can either use the Pearson e-textbook, or you can use your Bookshelf app that you've downloaded for your book. You have those two choices, or you can use your printed textbook if you have ordered a copy of the printout, which should be arriving within 10 business days of that order. There we go. So I will do a separate video on the actual homework pre-tests and tests in my math lab, show that program and the ins and out of that in another video, but I hope this is enough to get you going in Unit 1 this weekend. So thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Friday, and have a great weekend as you start Unit 1. Bye for now.